Welcome everyone to another Muffins with Morgan. I have the Little Bites Muffins today as I'll be answering questions. And I know everyone's going to be coming in here. And as normal, as you all come in here, let us know where you are tuning in from. Let us know where you're tuning in from again as you're coming in here. And again, super excited to have another session here. And fun fact. I'm going to share a couple of fun facts while everyone's getting in here. One fun fact that I'll share is I've never drank coffee in my life. That's that's my fun fact. A lot of people don't know that, but I've never drank coffee in my entire life. So that's my fun fact. But again, as everybody is coming in here, drop where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? What are you saying today? Again, super excited to go into another session of this. And I already have questions that were sent in. So we'll dive right into it as well. So shout out to Rahul from India. Rahul, which part of India? I went to Chennai, and that was a really good experience for me. So that's where I was tuning from. Laura, hey, shout out to Laura here from Hoboken. Shout out San Francisco, always a good spot to go to. Shout out to Canada. Ryan, shout out to Boston. Obviously, this was John's from, so I've been there a good bit, except I don't like the Patriots, but from being from Atlanta, you know that. Michael, shout out to Austin, Texas. Austin's one of my favorite places to visit. The food there is fantastic. 6th Street is great for me since obviously I'm a little bit younger over here, so that's always a good time. Cleveland, shout out to Cleveland in the house. We haven't had anyone from Cleveland in the house, so that's pretty cool. LA, shout out to LG. Gotta love LA. I went to Disneyland with my girlfriend in February. It was an amazing experience. So shout out to LA. We got again more Canadians. Shout out to Canada here. So Pittsburgh in the house. We got Dublin. Hey, okay, shout out to Dublin. Y'all know I love some Dublin. And we also got DC in the house. We got more India. Shout out to India right now. We got obviously LA. Shout out to Matthew over there. Lucy's here. We got food's better in Houston. Uh-oh, Kyle. Kyle, you might have stirred up the chat a little bit. I don't know about that. We got a lot of people from Austin here. So Chris, what's going on? Shout out to the UK. Oh, London. We got London coming in here strong. Shout out to London. That is one of my favorite places in the entire world to go to. I'm looking forward to coming back there, so that will be exciting. Hey, Bob. Bob's saying this. San Antonio is the new Austin. There's going to be a lot of fight. There's going to be fights in this comment section. Y'all going to cause some beef. Shout out to Laura here, coming back from Bolivia. And Ryan, man, why'd y'all do us like that? Like, we've been depressed ever since that beatdown. We haven't been the same since. So we are not happy with that 28-3. And then, okay, shout out to Juan. He's back again, Toronto. So, guys, I already have questions here. I'm going to start off with those questions. And if you haven't been here before, the main goal, the main thing that we talk about here is just questions, whether they're prospecting questions, sales development questions, career development, whatever questions that you have, drop them here in the chat and I will answer them. Okay, so I'm definitely going to dive into it. Yeah, Texas is, y'all are getting brutal in the comments. Shout out to Vegas. And shout out to Rhode Island too. So here we go. So first question came from Twitter. Mike, there's muffins. Don't worry about it. You said I got muffins here. But I can't be stuffing muffins while I talk. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get to the question. So first and foremost, let's dive into it. So here we go. The question is, my team has been experimenting with all sorts of cadences and touch points. Curious what your data experience shows as best performing. So I shared this 2 Saturdays ago, I believe. And the main focus in creating a cadence is to understand how does your market respond to the different methods of outreach. So I could give you an example that has been helpful for me and some other clients. However, take this framework and adjust it accordingly to how you're targeting your individuals. Because again, some people may be picking up the phone more based on your personas, or they may be more receptive to video. I don't know that, but what I've seen to be the most successful so far is, first and foremost, more people are looking on LinkedIn for information on what to do next. So we've seen a higher conversion on LinkedIn in terms of prospecting efforts, and then email's been second, then phone's third, and then also video. Some people will even argue that phone is dropping more and more each day. So, take that into consideration. So what I would suggest in terms of what cadence has been working the best is, first and foremost, your first touch, if your buyers are on LinkedIn, is to connect with them on LinkedIn. So I want you all to think about this. There are so many emails that are getting sent out on a daily basis, so many calls that you're trying to reach your prospect. On average, 100 and 200 sales emails that an executive gets per day. So if that's the case, you need to put a face to the name when you're talking to that individual, because otherwise they're going to see you and be like, okay, yeah, here's another email that I got. So what we seem to be successful is when you're reaching out to someone, reaching out to them with a LinkedIn connection request so they can put a face and name and they're like, wow, okay, that's someone that I want to talk to. So keep that in mind as well as you're doing your outreach for everyone here, whether you're an SDR, AE, leader, it doesn't matter. Make sure that you are doing that first connection request so people can put a face to the name. Then we found the second step on day 2 is an outbound email. Now, that can be different according to how you want to go about this and then how you want to have those conversations. But at the end of the day, the whole goal is I'm trying to get a meeting. So you have to have that other touch, which is the email. The email can be an array of different things. We've tried memes in emails. We've done just one question emails. We've done your regular email where it's, I found a reason why I'm reaching out to you. Here's my value prop and my call to action. There's multiple ways of doing this. I can elaborate more on those 3 emails here in a minute, but keep those in mind that you want to make sure that you're doing your email, again, that could stand out. And then the next thing is, if someone does connect with you on LinkedIn, we have a step 3, a LinkedIn voice message or LinkedIn video. I don't know how many of you guys have used this before, but the LinkedIn video, the LinkedIn voice message, if you are not aware of this, I highly encourage you to get on this right now. Like, this is incredibly important to make sure that you're doing this. And again, a LinkedIn video, a LinkedIn voice message can only be sent to the prospect if you're first degree connected with them. However, if you do this, you will see a fundamental difference in the way that people engage with you. If they aren't connected with you, then you can do a LinkedIn InMail. And then what we found on day 5, then we send them a follow-up. So when you follow up with somebody, ask for their feedback. So I've talked about this a lot. And when you ask for someone's feedback, they're more prone to answer your email, your voice message, or video. And the reason for that, everybody, is that any thoughts, bubbles back up to the top, that's extremely annoying. Every other rep is saying that. So don't be every other rep. Interrupt your patterns and ask for feedback. Then we found day 8, we send a video to the prospect. That's normally through email. And then day 11 is a goodbye email. Now, this is important as well. So day 8, you could either do a video or another outbound text-based email that has nothing in there. Again, not the video. It's either or there. And then day 11, what you can do as well is send a goodbye email. Now, everybody in here, you're probably more prone to sending a breakup email. Okay, so when you break up with someone, think about it. The chance of you talking to them again are going to be low. And when you reach out to them again, that emotional tension that is going to be there, and that conversation is not going to be what you want it to be. So don't, ask, how do we do a breakup email? Think about having a goodbye email. When you say goodbye to someone, you most likely are going to see them again. And so that language right there is extremely important. Don't think about a breakup email. Think about a goodbye email. And a goodbye email has resources you give to your prospect, whether that's a video, the blog to sign up for, your LinkedIn. These are things you can do right now to build that cadence. So I'm going to go over that cadence one more time. I know we got questions in here, and I'm going to get to all these questions. We got an hour here, but I wanted to do that break that down for you all so you can understand that. First is a connection request. Next is Day 2, an outbound email. Day 3, what we're doing is going to send a LinkedIn voice message or LinkedIn video. I already see Brian who's saying that he's already doing it and killing it so far on that. You need to be on that right now. If you're not, you're missing out. Day 5, ask for feedback. Don't say any thoughts. Day 8, outbound email and a video. And then day 11, a goodbye email instead of a breakup email. Don't ask me, Morgan, how do you write this breakup email? That's not what I'm talking about. What you need to be focusing on is how do you say goodbye to them so then you can reapproach them, because you don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I'll never going to contact you again. You all know that's not going to happen. So we need to make sure that we're saying goodbye. So it's a good question to start off on, but I see a lot of questions pouring in here, so we're going to get to all these. So I got a couple real quick ones that we can hit. Do people find LinkedIn connections annoying when it's from strangers? Everyone's different. So my answer to you on that is you don't know until you reach out. Especially if you're in sales, you got to be willing to try out new things to see if they're going to work or not work. So sending a connection request to your prospect, people are more willing to connect on the platform now based on them trying to build their brand, and also due to the climate we're currently in, people are always trying to connect. So I wouldn't say it's annoying. I would say reach out. If someone does say it's annoying, then handle it accordingly. But most people are going to accept your connection request. Daryl, you said LinkedIn social selling best practices. I have a lot. I could go on that for 2 hours. Is there something more granular you want to ask there? Robinson, my favorite kind of muffin is the blueberry muffin. So that's why I got these today. These little bites. I don't want to get the mega ones. So the little ones are my favorite ones. So these are the ones that I normally go to. All right. So Mike, this question here. I'm at a new cybersecurity SaaS company, and they seem to want to jump straight to the demo with little to no discovery. What is the rhythm of the discovery process in the SaaS space? So, Mike, my answer to this question here is you have to break it down for them why that's not a good idea. And here's why. You can't just be like, hey, nope, I don't want to show you the demo, because then they're going to fight with you, and then you're going to have that conflict. And again, I don't want you to have that, right? So, Mike, this is what you do here. When someone wants to jump straight into the demo, be like, I can do that for sure. Normally, when people walk you through demos, how is your experience? Most people are going to say, oh, they're terrible. Not really a great experience for me. Then you can be like, hey, Sally, let's say you're talking to Sally, right, Mike? Sally, the reason I don't want to hop right into the demo here today is because I don't want your experience as a buyer to be bad. And as a sales professional, I want to ask you the right questions so I can show you the right things in the product so that we can have a mutual conversation here, and then I can show you what's going to benefit for you and your organization and not waste your time and make sure it's valuable for you. Does that sound fair? Most people are going to be like, that does sound fair. And so, Mike, the way to prevent people from just jumping straight in the demo is letting them know it's going to be a bad experience if they do that. People don't want a bad experience. They value their time. So if you ask them, hey, normally when people hop straight into the demo, how does that go for you? Most prospects are going to say, it's a terrible experience. Then you have to tell them, I got to ask you questions first so it's not a terrible experience. So that's the one thing that I would say there. Is don't try to hop right into it. Let them know that the experience isn't going to be the best. And by letting them know that, it's going to allow you to have a better conversation. So, Mike, I'm hoping that was helpful there. And then Rebecca, shout out to Rebecca coming in here. And then, so Juan's already booking meetings from the advice of last week. Let's give everyone a round of applause for Juan. Shout out to Juan, man. I told you, man, that right there, that calling and getting that meeting right there on the phone is a game changer. So Juan, I'm glad you took the advice and you're out here executing and not just listening and being, oh, that's cool. You did it. So shout out to you, man. And that's a good question there. We also have another question with Kyle. Opinion on skipping the tactics, getting straight to the business outcome you can provide. I support workforce transformation and companies straight up. Just need to figure out how to save money without laying too many people off. Skipping the tactics to getting straight to the business outcome you can provide. So When you say skipping the tactics, Kyle, can you clarify that for me? I want to make sure I'm answering that question correctly. So, can you clarify me like skipping the tactics and getting the business outcome? That'd be extremely helpful. Galen, what's up? Hope you're doing well today. And we got another question here. I'm going to go to Brian so as we can get that question clarified. If you're moving from an SDR to SDR at a new company, can you negotiate salary as an SDR if you had prior experience despite being an SDR at an entry level role? So, Brian, it depends on what's happening within that organization. You can always negotiate the salary at the end of the day. I mean, one thing that you could negotiate, Brian, is coming in as a team lead. And you obviously have your manager, but maybe they obviously have a lot of responsibilities. And so one way you can negotiate that, Brian, is by putting yourself in a position to be like, hey, I've had experience being an SDR, so let me negotiate with you to be a team lead. And then also as well, depending on what their business strategy is, you can also negotiate not your base, but your comp plan. So you could get higher incentives on your comp plan. Maybe they're trying to go up market and schedule more meetings in the enterprise and mid-market space. And so maybe you get higher comp for scheduling meetings in enterprise and mid-market due to your experience. So Brian, the way to negotiate is to figure out what are they trying to accomplish. So I could give you like, hey, these are a couple things, but I don't know exactly what the company is looking to accomplish. So what I would do is reverse engineer what they're trying to accomplish. Why are they bringing you in this role? I would lean on things that they care about. The example of the mid-market and enterprise is great because you have experience as an SDR. So you most likely know how to convert those opportunities, where newer SDRs that are getting hired that don't have the experience probably can't do that. And especially right now, people are looking for higher deal sizes, especially during the climate that we're in. So if you're able to bring those opportunities into the organization, you can negotiate your strategy to be like, hey, look, I can bring in these big logos for you. And also I can come in as a lead to help onboard new reps that come in so that my manager doesn't feel overwhelmed. So Brian, that's what I would do as for you if you were looking to negotiate the salary. It never hurts to negotiate. It never hurts to ask. The worst answer you're going to get is no, and you move on. So that's my answer to you right there, Brian, on what you can do. Hopefully that was helpful. If you got any questions, hit me up on that. Daryl, yeah, LinkedIn Voice is critical. If you're not using it, you got to be looking at it. And then shout out to David's coming in here. And Bonnie, yeah, the Does That Sound Fair is huge. It's helped me out so much because nobody wants to be unfair at the end of the day. So that's why I always tell people to do that. All right, Kyle. Kyle's back here. So on a cold call, simply open up with the outcome you provide. So Kyle, the thing I always tell people is A/B test. Try it out and see what works. Now, normally when that ends up happening, people will cut you off immediately. So what I would encourage you to do is come up with the intro that allows for them to let you do that. So Kyle, what I mean by that is I wouldn't be like, hey, Kyle, the reason I'm calling you, and I would go right into the pitch. People might be like, whoa, man, you're coming in too hot. So the way to set yourself up, Kyle, I'm going to give you an intro that will allow you to go straight into the outcome, but I want to set you up the right way so you can do that. So Kyle, if I'm calling somebody, this is normally what I do. Let's say if I'm calling Summer, right? So I would be like, hi, Summer. Thanks for taking my call. I know I'm calling you out of the blue. Do you have a few moments to chat? Most of the time when you do that, Kyle, it's a pattern interrupt. And also people are curious as human beings. So what they do is they lean in and they say, who are you? And then you can be like, hi, my name is Kyle from X company. And the reason I'm calling, and then you can go into your business outcome. You want to make sure that you set yourself up so they are more open to hearing you out. If you come in guns blazing like that, most people might just hang up on you because, again, they know immediately it's a sales call and it's not going to be a good vibe for you. That's my suggestion. Anyone else in the comments can obviously comment in on that, right? That's the big thing. But the key is that you want to interrupt their pattern in the first 5 seconds, giving them an opportunity for them to open up to you and then drill into that factor as well. So, again, pay attention to that there. Intro that creates a pattern interrupt. Then they're like, yep, who are you? What do you want? What's going on? And then now, Kyle, that's going to allow you to go straight into the business outcome as well. So that's what I would do because I've seen on cold calls when you hop right in, most people, they just cut people off immediately. So that's my take. Anybody else that wants to follow up on that, we definitely can have a discussion. So a lot of different questions here. Margie, thanks so much for dropping in. And yeah, we've been continuously developing this every Saturday. So again, we appreciate you hopping in here. Shout out to Fago who's in here. Always good to see you, man. And then I know we got a question from Ryan. So how do you make the most out of the character limit on personalized connection requests? So Ryan, this is interesting because what we have found is that the highest acceptance rate in terms of connection requests is a blank note. So it's just sending a blank note to somebody, and that has the highest acceptance rate. It's crazy. Now, another way to go about this, Ryan, that we've seen to be successful is personalizing it and being upfront with that individual. And so the key thing is, if you can talk to somebody and be upfront with them in the connection request, they know the reason why you're connecting. So Ryan, an example that I have when I reach out to someone, it would be, hi Ryan, we give skills-based training to sales reps that focuses on leveraging LinkedIn and scheduling net new conversations on the platform. If you were to connect with me, then I would want to chat with you in those areas. So Ryan, and anybody who wants this template I have, I can send it to you on LinkedIn Messenger. If you want it, just hit me up. But the whole goal there, Ryan, is that when people are connecting on LinkedIn, they don't know why people are willing to connect with them. And so because of that, you have to be able to tell them why you're doing that. And so the key factor there is, if I tell you, hey, this is why I want to connect, and if you connect with me in these areas, guess what, Ryan? When you accept and I hit you up with the LinkedIn video, you can't be like, oh, I wasn't prepared for that, because you said you connected with me. So that means that you're open to this conversation. And so that's how you make the most out of your character limit on personalizations. And that is when it's been extremely helpful in reaching out to people on LinkedIn. However, the blank connection request has led to higher acceptance rates across the board. And also, I'll add to this as well. If you did not know, you can withdraw those connection requests as well. And I want to add this other point because Calvin just dropped it in here. Everyone who views my profile, I always send them a GIF or a GIF or whatever you call it. And it's a funny one that I do, but every time someone views my profile and it's someone that I'm engaging with, or maybe it's a potential client or etc., I'll message them and I'll send a GIF or a GIF or whatever the heck y'all want to call it. And then I put a lurking one, and it's someone that's coming out of the bushes. And it's like, hi, Ryan, thanks for viewing my profile. Anything I can do to help? And so by doing that, a lot of people laugh and they're like, yeah, this is why I wanted to connect with you. I've even gotten meetings off that. People are like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to reach out to you. I got busy with something else. Let's set up a time to connect. I'm not saying that every time it's going to lead into a meeting. However, it opens up the conversation. It's funny. People like it. And we've seen it successful across multiple personas, multiple markets. I've done it. And we again have seen results from it. So it's something to try out. So when people do view your profile and they have accepted you, or it's someone in your first degree connections, that's another way to connect with someone. So Ryan, great question there. And hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have some follow-up questions. So, hey, shout out to Roderick coming in the stream here. He put this, so this is important. Always be upfront and transparent. That will help you win at the end of the day. When you're upfront and transparent with somebody, they're willing to be upfront and transparent with you. So, Roderick, thanks for hopping in the stream. All right, so let's keep this flowing. So Daryl's saying here, what's more effective for prospecting via LinkedIn? Follow hashtags or joining groups? Hashtags are super important to follow on LinkedIn. LinkedIn groups have been dead for a while. I wouldn't recommend you joining them because most people aren't active in them. You can be there. I'm just saying they're not going to be as active. LinkedIn has put out LinkedIn events now. However, they're not the best, and they're continuously trying to update those because once you create an event, it dies and you can't reinvite people based on your last event. So it can be a little bit monotonous there. So what I would say, Daryl, is go on LinkedIn, go find your hashtags, follow those hashtags, engage with them, and then making sure that you can get some meetings across the board. And so that's what I would do. Follow hashtags. And then also, Daryl, an additional tip here is when you go to someone's LinkedIn profile and they're a second or first degree connection, then you can see what they have been liking and commenting so on. So what you could do is you go to the profile, you click see all, you go to activity, and then you can see all the people that they're engaging with. So that's another way to see who are they engaging with, who are they talking to, and then now you can again have a further conversation with them. So keep that in mind across the board as you are having this structure and this process when it comes to LinkedIn. Follow the hashtags. They're going to be more effective for you. And then if you are first or second degree to someone, you can look at what they post. However, most people don't post. You need to look at what their hashtags are, and those hashtags will lead to the results you're looking for. So Daryl, let me know if that was helpful there. All right, so we got a lot of people coming in. Shout out to the chocolate chip muffins. Hey, everyone's got their preference. Shout out to Brian, who's using the 10-30-10. If you guys haven't been using that, I've been talking about it a lot. That's a way to schedule some meetings for yourself with a video message or a voice message as well. And that's, again, another way to go about it. So, again, I'm going through a couple of questions here. We have another question that is coming in. And I think this is a really good question to focus on. And this is from Twitter. So it's saying, hey, sales is an emotional roller coaster. What do you do when you need a boost? So the key thing here is for everyone. I don't know who is going through the ups and downs. I'm going through the ups and downs myself. One way to make sure that you are remaining confident and you're focused on the things you need to do is have a morning routine. A lot of people miss out on this, and it detracts from you being focused throughout the day. And so what I do is, you see here, is that I have this 6-minute diary here. I don't know if anybody else has this, but it's been extremely beneficial for me. And how I stay positive is I stay grateful. And it's all about perspective. When you've been to other countries, you get other perspectives. And so I've seen how other things look, and I always come back and I'm just grateful for the fact that I can have a job and I have something to do. So how you remain positive is realize you have something to do. You still have an opportunity to grow and excel and make income for yourself. And most people right now do not have that opportunity. So how I remain positive is knowing that there are other people who don't have the same things that I have, and I'm going to maximize the opportunities that I have right now because I'm blessed to keep moving forward on that. So that's one thing that I would be extremely focused on to remain focused. One thing that I also would mention on there is keeping yourself motivated is keep a steady mindset. So some of you probably heard this quote before, and it's you're either heading into a storm, you're in a storm, or you're leaving a storm. So in life, it's not always going to be perfect. And so in order to have the right perspective, you have to keep a steady mindset. Life at some points it's going to go really well. Also, at some points, it's going to be going really not so well. However, you have to keep a steady mindset and understand that at the highest peak, that means I need to look at what am I doing to win. At your lowest, be like, why am I struggling? You have to ask yourself these questions. And that's how you're going to stay motivated. Also, stay around people that have energy. Have mentors, have colleagues you can talk to. Ultimately, we all have emotions and we face them differently. I've been down most of this week. However, when you look at your morning routine, when you look at your goals, when you have the right people surrounding you that can support you, you can take that energy and take it to that next level. So for those of you who are wondering how do you stay motivated, keep a steady mindset. And when you keep a steady mindset, that's how you see success. And the last thing that I'll say is don't get emotional about the outcome. Get emotional about your process. Because when you try to figure out how can I get better at my intros, my cold calls, my email writing, my video making, and not just, hey, I got to hit these numbers, which is what the stress is leading to. It allows you to be more focused on your mind. It gives you more clarity. And again, it will eliminate all the other obstacles that are running up against you. So keep a steady mindset. And that's the way you can stay motivated there based on that question. Phil, thanks, man. Thursday night sales. I mean, that was really heavy to share all the things that we're sharing. How I'm hoping that everyone walked away and learned some different stuff that they can go implement. And Galen, thanks for stopping by. You always know I'm going to give the formulas. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Let's see. How do you break ice with prospects who don't speak your native language? That I don't have an answer to. I don't have to do that as much, and I don't have direct experience with that, to be honest with you. You already are using Google Translator. I would probably suggest talk to leadership to figure out ways that you can break through that barrier. But I personally don't know the answer to that question. So if someone does have an answer to that question here in the chat, help that person out right there. However, I don't know personally what you can do there because I personally haven't gone through that experience. So Billy, how do you drive someone to a webinar when cold calling? So when you're looking to drive people to a webinar and cold calling, it's focusing on what are the highlights that webinar is going to cover. So you can easily talk to your marketing team and be like, hey, what are the 3 things that someone needs to know or someone's going to get out of this webinar? And so Billy, by asking marketing that question, they'll give you the 3 things. And so when we were making cold calls and talking to individuals, what we would say is, hey, Bobby, the reason I'm calling is because we're having a webinar that's coming out next week. And these are the 3 things that we're covering. Do any of those fall into the priorities you're focused on, or is that completely off? And so, Billy, what that does there is if I know the 3 takeaways that someone's going to get, I then can call all my prospects. I can email my prospects about those 3 things to get them to warm up to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to talk about those things. Let me come on the webinar. So when you're reaching out to someone, give them the highlights of what they should expect coming into the webinar, and that will get them to be more excited to show up. So, Billy, that's what I would do there. Make sure that you give them the highlights of what they're going to get out of it, so then they're more prone to show up. So, Billy, let me know if that helped answer your question as well. So I'm going to eat my muffin and find the next question here. Also, shout out to everybody that's here. Paige. So I have a formula of how I handle it. However, give me an objection that you face. Each objection is different. So give me an example of objection that you face, and then we'll talk about it. So Paige, throw that in the chat. Rebecca said, hey, it's a good question here. Sales is a tough job. It is a tough job. How do sales professionals deal with their stress and anxiety? So Rebecca's asking a great question here. In the chat, if you could put, how do you all handle stress and anxiety? It'd be great to hear from you all as well. And Ria, thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you joining here on a Saturday. And Rebecca, the main thing that I've realized in handling stress and anxiety is making sure that you are taking a moment to reflect on what's happening. And I think that we don't take a moment to reflect on our lives in general. Stress and anxiety come from not knowing what is going on or expectations being set too high and not taking the time to get in our own headspace. What for you is leading to that anxiety or leading to that stress, right? One thing that I personally do to handle stress and anxiety is I write down what am I going through. I write down the emotions. You can't attack something, you can't overcome something if you don't know what it is. So, yeah, you're stressed. However, what is making you stress? What is making you have anxiety? So, I'll give you all an example. Before I did a talk, I used to have heavy anxiety to the point where my palms would be super sweaty. I would get super nervous. I would drink like multiple waters before, like I would get so high of anxiety. So how did I overcome that anxiety? So some of you all here, you might agree with me. Before you have a big call or before you have a cold call blitz, you have that anxiety. I know you guys have felt it before. You got that anxiety like in the pit of your stomach. You're like, man, I don't want to do this right now. So what I have done is I create a routine to overcome that anxiety. So what do I personally do? I'm going to walk you all through this because anxiety and stress, right? I see them in a different lane here. So before I go do my talk, this is the ritual. Travis Scott, Stargazing. That's the first song that I play. Second song that I play, 0 to 100 by Drake. Then what I do is, I don't know if you guys have seen this before, I do the Deion Sanders. And so what Deion Sanders did before every single game is he laid out his uniform in the middle of the locker room before he put it on and went out. That was his ritual to get rid of his anxiety. I did a deep research on this because I was understanding what led to his greatness. He had a ritual. He laid it out. So what I do is, y'all are going to find this super weird, but I lay out what I'm going to wear before I do my training. Now, with the virtual training, I still do it today. However, I used to go on site. Shout out to Lakeisha here. But I used to go out on site, and before I left, I would put my shoes, my NMD shoes that I always wear, my Impacted Empower. I would put my jeans out. I put my hat out. This is the one that I wear now for trainings. And then I also put my Keep Dialing shirt out. And so I put that out, and then when it was time to go, I put it on, and I felt empowered. I felt like I was in the zone, and that's how I got rid of my anxiety. You don't have to go as deep as I went there. However, I encourage you to find what is your routine before you did it. Yes, John, it was undies too. Like it was deep. It was deep. However, it allowed for me to perform at the highest level for that training so I could deliver what I needed to deliver for my clients. And that helped me out a lot because I had huge anxiety. Stress, a lot of you guys put it, I write things out. I play video games. That's how I deal with my stress. Read. Writing it out has been the best thing for me, though, to be honest, because I can see what's going on with me. And then I can talk to my girlfriend, my loved ones, and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. This is why I'm stressed. Could somebody help me out? Seek out help. Seek out advice. Don't be ashamed that that's going on for you. Everyone has stress. Everyone has anxiety. So, Rebecca, I love this question here. Travis, I have way too many sock combinations. However, I am a person that is so ritual based. I only have 5 to 6 socks that I'll wear when I'm doing a training. And that's just the way that I've done it. So that's how I go about it. All right, cool. Everybody, let's keep the questions flowing. And then thanks everybody for showing up here and dropping in your questions as well. So shout out to Nicole. I got to go back to this because I missed this one. But shout out to Nicole saying, hey, you can always mention something on a cold call to get their interest. Absolutely. So that's a big thing as well. We could go down to Tanner. Hey, Tanner, at the end of the day, practice it, man. Everything comes down to practice. So with the voice messages, keep practicing, keep trying it out, and that will make you see more success as well. So shout out to Cheryl with box breathing. That's also a good one as well. So again, you guys can do different things. All right, Paige. So I got you. This is the formula that I follow to handle this objection. So let's put it up here so you guys can see it. So you guys see a little bit of it, but the question here is objection. I'm currently using whatever software and I like what I've been using. So we need to differentiate their current provider with our software. So, Paige, this is the framework. Hey, you guys know I got another formula. You guys always know if you follow me, I got formulas everywhere. Like one day I might have to show you guys like how many formulas I have like in a spreadsheet, and it's just like all over the place because that's just the way that I think. So, Paige, here's the formula of how to handle this objection. So when anyone says, hey, I'm currently using whatever, I like what I've been using. Most of the time, when people hear that, they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so, yeah, they're cool. However, these are all the cool things that we do. We do this. We're better than because of this. We're cheaper. We're faster, etc. That's a lot of hype. So you got to slow down there because that's what I used to do. I just come in like, oh, so-and-so, yeah, they're all right. But these are all the cool things that we do. Don't do that. So you got to take a step back. You got to get them to lean in and get excited about why they bought that. So Paige, anytime anyone says, oh yeah, we're currently using them, I'm like, oh cool, you're using so-and-so. What do you like about them? So now what I've done is I'm getting them talking because now they're like, oh yeah, I like these things, I like those things, etc. Cool. I'm just taking notes, right? Then once they give me all that information, the follow-up to that question is, what would you like to improve? And that's not saying, hey, what don't you like? I'm just, hey, what would you like to improve? And then by asking them what they like to improve, then they give you the gaps that they're missing with that current product. And then once they've given you that, then they're like, oh, hey, so I took a couple notes here on what you like to improve. I know this may not be an exact fit for you right now. However, I like to schedule a call with you so that you can see what our solution is all about and you're familiar with our brand when the time arises that you're looking to maybe make a transition and cover these improvements you're looking to cover. So again, all I'm asking for is 30 minutes of your time sometime next week. So again, we can show you the solution and you can remain innovative in the space and learn about the different products that are out there. Does that sound fair? Paige, that's it. So the formula is get him talking, get him to acknowledge the gap, and then have the common ground to ask them, does that sound fair? So I'm listening on what they like to get them talking. So I'm not attacking them. It's just conversation. Then I ask them what they like to improve. When they talk about the improvements, those are the gaps. Then once the gaps have then been addressed, number 3 is I'm going to close on the gaps that have been addressed based on what they told me. And then my solution will come into play. I don't put any pressure on them saying, hey, I just want you to be familiar with our brand. I just want you to check out our solution because you mentioned some gaps there because that's what you said. That's not me making some stuff up. Then I also, at the end, I always add, does that sound fair? Because again, no one at the end of the day wants to be unfair. So Paige, hopefully you found that helpful. That is my go-to. That is my go-to formula every time. It normally works, but I can't guarantee a silver bullet here. However, that has been helpful. So Paige, let me know what you think on that. Jeremy, thanks so much for dropping in here, and I appreciate it. Thursday night sales was a good vibe. Shout out to Nikki dropping in here on the Krabby Patty formula. I'll take that. Hey, I'll take that. Krabby Patty formula is legit. They got that locked in a vault. So let's see here. Lupe, recently I got asked in an interview what could make me better, more competitive than folks who may have 1 year of experience in front of them versus someone, aka me. In short, how to leverage your newness as a strength in an interview when you don't have any direct sales experience. So Lupe, the same thing happened to me. I was up against 2 or 3 other people that were looking for the SDR position. I had 0 sales experience and they had 2 or 3. And so when someone asks me how am I better or more competitive, et cetera, or whatever that is, I always look at the responsibilities of why they're hiring. So Lupe, when they have an open position on any company page, you can go do this. You can go look at the responsibilities. And they're going to tell you, and Katie said this, right? The characteristics. They tell you what they're looking for. They're like hardworking, open-minded, coachable. We're looking to make X amount of calls. We're looking to do this. Most people don't ever look at that. They just apply because they want the job, and they just show up. Then they say they answer the right questions, and they don't ask questions at the end. So Lupe, this is exactly what I did to get my job. And I had zero sales experience. I never picked up the phone. I came right out of college. So I had no job experience. I didn't have job experience, Lupe. So I still was able to get this based on how everyone else had sales experience. The key thing you have to do is look at the responsibilities page and then look at what have you done in not in your it doesn't have to be in your career, in your life to address those certain things. So one thing that I said is, hey, I started a company in college, and one of the things that you all have here is open-mindedness and entrepreneurial spirit. So I've started a business before. So I don't know if anyone else that sales experience has done that. However, I have. So I know how to adjust. I know how to talk to individuals. I know how to present myself because I'm the only person that's going to help me get ahead because it's my company. So I brought that up. Another thing that I saw on there was hard work. And I said, hey, I was on a high school basketball team, varsity, 2 years in a row. We won back-to-back state championships. Junior year, I didn't play that much at all. However, that summer, I went in the gym. I worked out every single day. So because I wanted to be in the starting five my senior year. And I told myself, I'm not going to be on the team to be on the team. I'm going to be on the team and contribute, which is key for everyone here. Just because you got the job doesn't mean it's over. You have to show what you can do once you get the job. People miss out on that. Cool, you're an SDR at a cool company now. Now what? Executing, go get those results. So I'm going to bring it back to the basketball story. I went in the gym. I did the conditioning. That year, conditioning was on point. My shot got better. My defense was on point. Still didn't get the starting lineup. I was the sixth man. Still was in the gym. Stayed after practice. Worked with the starters. Mid-season, I ended up being a starter, and I ended up starting in that championship game. We ended up winning the championship, and that was one of the most saddest factory things I've ever done in my entire life because I knew I put in the work to be there. It wasn't given to me. It wasn't a handout. It had nothing to do with experience. It had to do with because I was willing to put in the work to get the result. And so Lupe here, you got to be willing to tell them what you have done for a work ethic. Anyone can say that you work hard. Tell them a story of how you've worked hard. And so when I came to that interview with stories based on their guidelines of what they were looking for, that's why they picked me over everyone else. Because I gave answers that were different and it interrupted their pattern completely because I came prepared. And most people just show up because they have experience. I showed up because I knew I had to go beyond that. So Lupe, I'm hoping that's helpful for you right there to get your job. Even if you don't have sales experience, come with answers that you're prepared with. And make sure, Lupe, you're asking questions at the end of your interview. People miss out on that. They just expect to get the job. Ask those questions at the end so that you can get that done. So, Lupe, again, I'm hoping that's helpful there and that's insightful and you got something out of that because that whole breakdown I just gave you is how I got the job. They did not expect me to break it down that way. And again, I'm just looking over here and make sure I'm good on the comments, but they were not ready for me to break it down that way. Like I'm telling you guys, they weren't prepared for that, but that's what got me the job. Okay. So everybody pay attention out there. So I'm making sure I got everybody's stuff here. Yo, shout out to my man, Ralph Barcy, who just hopped in. Shout out to you, man. Hope you're doing good. And again, I'm looking at the screen, making sure we got everything covered. So, boom. All right, guys, let's get to another question. What's my weekly diet? How do I fuel the body? Okay, so Travis, I only drink water or kombucha like I have here. Normally, I'll eat muffins on Monday and then obviously Saturday for this. And I normally stick to salad, ribs, and pasta. I eat a lot of tangerines. I eat a lot of grapes. I think the biggest thing for me is drinking tons of water. So interesting for me is that I don't drink coffee. I never have, and my plan is I never will. I don't want to do that. Okay. So I continuously have energy that is natural, and that's based on me drinking a lot of water. and making sure that I'm preparing myself. Also, in the morning, I don't have a huge heavy breakfast. I normally eat Quest bars. You guys have probably seen that before. Quest bars, those things have been super helpful for me as well. Jeremy, no, I've never drank coffee in my entire life. Never. Never done it. And people think that's crazy, which it probably maybe it is. I don't know because I've never had coffee, but I've never had it. So cool. Let's see. We got other questions flowing in. I'm looking at everybody and I'm making sure everybody's getting answered. And let's see right here. Do you have a book of your formulas, Cheryl? I do have a book of formulas. It's funny because everyone's been like, "Yo, where's this formula book?" I do have one. It's not like a book, I guess. It's a spreadsheet that I have. So it's how I pay attention to what's going on. So there's that. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. So shout out to Nikki with the routine. Everyone's got a routine. You got to make sure that you have that, because if you don't have a routine, you're gonna throw yourself off. All right, so Brian, I saw your question about the book. So I'm just gonna create an Amazon affiliate link, because the amount of times I've answered this question, Brian, no, nothing on you. How many times I answer this question is a lot, so I might end up getting an Amazon affiliate link to be like, hey guys, look, here's all the books you need to be reading and paying attention to. So I'm gonna drop some in here. And for those of you who are listening, if someone wants to put this in the chat, just be like, hey, Morgan, these are the 3 that you have. That'd be extremely helpful. And then Josh, appreciate you, man, and the love. And let's see. Now everyone wants the formula spreadsheet. Hey guys, I can't pull out the formula spreadsheet just yet. You guys gotta stay tuned. Stay tuned. So Brian, a couple books that I recommend. One is Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards. And the reason that that's great is because it talks about how you communicate with humans, their facial expressions, etc. So again, something you can pay attention to there. Another one that I found to be helpful, I'm actually looking for it. I don't see it here, but question-based selling. I've recommended on every single one that we've done here on this Q&A. Another one that I would recommend is Gap Selling. Someone also dropped it in here. So Gap Selling by Keenan. That's a really good one. So again, you can check that out. Another one that's been helpful is The Laws of Growth, or The 15 Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. Just understanding how do humans relate, what laws we should follow to make sure that, again, we get those results. And another book that I would recommend that I really like, it's really long, is Think and Grow Rich. I think a lot of people probably have read this before. However, it's a great book about sales and how you go about it. So I'm recommending that now because we still have time. A lot of people aren't at the office yet. And again, people are still working from home. So Think and Grow Rich is another great book to read there as well. So Brian, those are books that you can go read right now. There's so many books that are out there, again, at the end of the day. However, again, I'd recommend for you to do that. Daryl, the funny thing about it is someone told me to listen to the audiobook because it's hilarious, because it's just Keaton yelling at you the entire time. So I might need to buy it, because that to me would just crack me up for like an entire day. Just Keenan just like yelling at you and being like, why aren't you working hard? Like, you're not gap selling. Like that to me would be incredibly hilarious. And so, yeah, that's something that you definitely could check out. So, all right, guys, we got about a couple more minutes left here. And I have another question that I'm going to go into. And, everybody here, we're talking about, Billy's talking about the spreadsheet. Paige is asking for the spreadsheet. Cheryl's asking for the spreadsheet. guys, it's going to be on a later date. The spreadsheet will be coming. So don't worry about it. It's going to be good. It's going to be all fine. It's going to be okay. So spreadsheet is coming. So it's all good. Dustin, so I answered this in the beginning. So I don't want to, for everyone that's been here, I don't want to go over it one more time. Really, Dustin, at the end of the day, it really is perspective. Like, I don't get down that much. This week was terrible. However, I just have perspective. Like, I don't know how to go much deeper than that. Like, when you have an opportunity to do great things and you're not out on the street and you're not homeless and you're not in a bad economy, I just don't understand how you can have a slump. Like, I can't understand that, because there's so many bad things that are happening. There's so many horrible things that are happening across the world, and getting in a slump is part of human nature. I understand that. However, there's so many things to look at and just have perspective and be like, I have a place to live. I'm not homeless. I have money to spend. I have an opportunity to grow. Like, these things I think about and I just get out of my slump. Yeah, I have moments where, like, man, this sucks. However, I always just look at my goals, I reverse engineer, and I'm like, let's just get after it. That's the way that I get out of a funk. Also, to get out of a funk, lean on things that make you happy, that give you joy. That's how you get out of it. Go back to what I talked about. I think I said it 2 Saturdays ago, 80-20%. This is another way to get out of it, is you should have a bucket of 80% of things that work for you. Go and do those things. And also, if you're in a slump, the 20% is critical as well, because try out new things that will get you out of a slump. Sometimes we get in slumps because we've been in the same pattern over and over and over again. And so to get out of it, maybe you start doing video selling. You guys have been hearing me yelling about it. Maybe it's the time to do that, just to get you out of a slump, right? So these are things that Dustin, I personally do to get out of it. I think at the end of the day, everyone's going to be different. However, I wake up and I write the 3 things I'm grateful for, and it's hard for me to be negative. It's hard for me to complain. It's hard for me to get upset. Does it happen? Yes. Do I get exhausted? Absolutely. Does it happen very often? No, because I have perspective and I'm grateful on where I'm at, and I'm going to take that move forward. So, and then Phil, you put up a good one too. Is I have a folder of all the great things that people have said about things that I've done for them or my work, etc. So that brings me back up when I'm like, okay, cool, I know what I'm doing. So Phil brought up another great point as well. I have a folder. It's called Good Vibes on my phone. And then in my inbox, I have the same thing, Good Vibes. They're emails that I store as well. So Phil, thanks for bringing that up. It's another great point. So Terrence, what up, Terrence? Good talking to you the other day. He's back in here, and he's asking a question. Hey, any recommendations on how to prioritize your workday? Everybody wants a spreadsheet. All right, y'all. Like, it looks like this is a thing. So if this is a thing, I might have to consider releasing it. Not like ASAP, but it's in consideration, because it looks like you all want these formulas that I've been talking about. So again, just be on the lookout here. Be on the lookout. And one thing I will say is I just think about everything in formulas because they're universal. So the reason let's talk about it, right? The reason I have a lot of formulas is because I was a finance major, and also I'm a very math-minded person. And so everything I always saw was in formulas. So when I think about how to do something in sales, I just figure out what's the formula. So it's, again, repeatable, and I don't have to overthink it every single time. So again, it looks like the spreadsheet is lit. I don't know what's going on. You know, I got it hidden away, but maybe I got to pull it out. All right. So Terrence, I allocate my day by 30, 60, 90. So 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes of activity. And so when you're doing that, we as humans can only operate at 90 minutes of our optimal activity. Once you go beyond that, you lose it. And so the key thing is I know what matters to me, and I know what I need to do. And the best way to think about that, Terrence, is separate your calendar into 3 different colors. And for those of you who have followed me for a while, you've heard of this before, but green is money-making activities. Yellow is prepping for the money-making activities. and red is taking a break. So I prioritize my day to have more money making activities that then the yellows complement my green activities, and then the red is my breaks. And then throughout the day, I decide where do I want to put the money making activities. So everyone in here is going to be different. I mean, we got AEs, SDRs, we could have customer success, we could have leaders, we could have business owners. And everyone's different here. So what I would suggest is take that information that you have and then figure out how do you want to block it out. Maybe 9 to 10 is a good time for you to call. Maybe 11 to 12 is a dead time for prospecting, and you could do your yellow activities. Maybe you find that 3 is a complete dead time for everything, so maybe that's when you take a break and you take a walk. I can't tell you exactly what to do, Terrence. However, that framework, right? Framework and formulas, you all know me. That framework will be helpful for you. So if you're looking at it from a framework standpoint, have more greens than you have yellow. Make sure you have yellows that complement the greens, and make sure you have reds so that you're not losing your mind. So we're hitting right at 12. We're precise today. So thanks everyone for hopping in and asking your questions. And everyone that did not get their questions answered, hit me up. I'll make sure to answer it the next time. And again, as always, thanks for everybody for hopping on, for being supportive. You all know these things are consistently going to be done every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for those of you who have been continuously coming here, I appreciate it. We got a lot of great tips that people dropped here today on cold call intros and great questions across the board. And everything that has been said here has been great. So the formal spreadsheet, it's out there. We'll see when it gets released, because it looks like people are interested in these formulas that I'm talking about. But again, hopefully you all have a great weekend, and next week is a better week for us all. I'm shutting it down right after this. So if you hit me up and you're looking for me this weekend, you ain't gonna see me. Like everyone's told me to shut it down. This week has been, as you all, incredibly exhausting and tiring, and I gotta take a step back. So, but I appreciate you all coming here on the Saturdays. Again, Saturdays, 11 a.m. We're gonna be here every single time, and I hope again you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.